Hey friends, Pastor Fieberkorn with you here for Catechism Monday. We're returning to topics of the Catechism proper. We spent our better part of our summer talking about worship practices. I hope that was beneficial to you, but if you were just chomping at the bit to get back to the Catechism, well, your time has now come. It's August 22nd, school's back in session. And I got the latest guide from Pastor Truey of laying out these catechetical topics through the whole year. So I can do that on my own if I wanted to, but he has spent a great deal of time providing a resource that kind of walks us step by step through the six chief parts. And I'm happy to use that as guidance. Sometimes I take his topics and go my own direction with them, but he is providing the structure for this. So we want to acknowledge that as we begin our year together. So we're going to be spending the next 5 to 6 weeks talking about the sacrament of holy baptism. Now, if you're familiar with the small catechism, you know there's just 4 parts to its treatment of baptism, basically 4 questions Luther asks and then responses that he gives. And we'll cover all of those in the next, like I said, 5 to 6 weeks. But today, the special emphasis is on handing down the faith. Okay, so before we begin talking about what baptism does or means or how water can do such great things, et cetera, we're just going to start with something very simple. And that is an emphasis on how with baptism comes an obligation by the parents, by the church in which the child is baptized, to hand down the faith to the next generation. Now, this is not a novel idea. Of course, this comes precisely from Scripture, where Jesus, before his ascension, says in the Great Commission, "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you." So how do you go make disciples of all nations? 2 things are going to be very key to this task. First is you baptize them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Second, then, you teach them. Okay, the 2 go together, baptism and teaching. And I really love what the old hymnal, not the blue one we probably had, but the green one called Lutheran Book of Worship, which was primarily an ELCA hymnal way back in the early 80s or before the ELCA was truly a church body. But in that, the rite of confirmation was not called confirmation. It was actually called Affirmation of Baptism. And what I love about that is it tied the teaching that's being done in confirmation to the child's baptism. So confirmation is a fine term, and that's what we normally use. But what are we really doing there? We're teaching the child the faith into which they were baptized when they were an infant. God then made them his child that day. He forgave all their sins. But on that day, he also brought them into the church, and the church has a responsibility then to teach the child. Now, this doesn't wait until confirmation. It begins in Sunday school. It begins even before that in the home when parents maybe read their children Bible stories or teach them to pray. The whole life long, we're learning. Confirmation is just kind of a very formal period where we say, hey, you're getting close to being a teenager now. Your mind is developed. Now you're going to learn a lot more about this faith into which you're baptized, because your cognitive abilities have developed to the point where you're probably ready to do that and take it a little more seriously. And that is a responsibility. It's the old point of godparents. Now they're largely symbolic, but the godparents' job used to be, if something were to happen to mom and dad, they would watch over the spiritual formation of that child and ensure they went to church and were taught and eventually came to the table of the Lord. And if you hear in our liturgy, sponsors even promise to do that when they stand up there at the moment of the baptism. Now, I don't know how many of them take that task seriously. We hope that they would. Many times, sometimes they're more symbolic for families, but that's the true task. And so we also see this responsibility to teach in a beautiful passage back in the Old Testament in Deuteronomy. Moses is speaking to the people and says, "These words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children. You shall talk of them when you sit in your house and when you walk by the way, when you lie down and when you rise." Which is just a really fancy and poetic way of saying all the time. That's your job, parents, grandparents, is to continually be forming the children in the faith into which they were baptized. They've been baptized. Now it's time to teach them. That task begins as soon as possible and it continues our entire life long. We just never stop learning. There's a special term for this handing down of the faith. It's called, here we go, here's a fancy word for you, the paradosis. It just means doceo is the word to teach, and paradosis can kind of have this. So to parados is to hand down to the next generation. So you have this precious treasure of faith in your heart and in your mind. Now your job is to give that treasure to the next generation of the baptized so that they can give it to their children and to their children and so on down the line. So with baptism comes a responsibility to teach. And we'll begin learning more about baptism proper in the ensuing weeks, but I hope this was a good start for you. Always a pleasure to begin Catechism Monday with you. Sorry this one came a little late, got off my radar today, but take care, God bless. We'll see you later this week and also in subsequent Catechism Mondays to come. Take care and God bless. Have a great day.